Hello, Hasan, and welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're really excited to have you here and learn a little bit more about what you're doing and what you've been up to with your new app, which I won't go into any details at this moment. I'll wait for you to share that with us.
Well, thank you, Pamela, for hosting me, and great to speak to you and to your audience about what we've been up to.
So let's start from the beginning, because a lot of people listening, while they're not familiar with Dudi, but why don't you kind of start from the beginning, share a little bit about yourself and your journey to how you got to this point.
Well, I mean, let me start first by not briefing people about what's Dudi. I like to highlight why Dudi. Okay, so the idea, first of all, started in 2013 or 2014. Luckily, I didn't pursue the opportunity then, because building any tech platform had been quite expensive. I would say 2 or 3 times more expensive than it is today. With the COVID hitting and having to stay home, and as you know, 50% of people gained weight. I was one of those people. So being a consultant, I was all the time researching for, good ways to lose weight, to connect with people. And that's where I felt like there's something missing out there. I got a bike home. It wasn't helping. And then I realized, I started to see the many articles in this part of the world and white papers about the diabetes, which are expert in that domain, the high obesity rates, and they all stem from a simple fact of low sports participation rate. There were also other factors pushing people, not to exercise enough. There's high level of anxiety, and this is on a global scale. There's hidden problems such as loneliness, feeling, not belonging to a certain community. And that's where I felt like, we need to see what the sports tech is doing. How's that helping people in the mission? And of course, my research started from interest, first of all, to becoming more of a consultant. As you know, I've always been a consultant myself. A consultant digging into a problem and further researching information, because the problem is really huge. It's like it would impact all of our life in a way or another. So, and I started to download different sports applications out there, and I was struck with my findings. Effectively, I noticed that, there are big names in the sports tech industry, but most of the applications, they serve a certain vertical. Like there's something for the cycling, there's another thing for the fitness. There's a lot of things happening in the fitness world. However, I have my remarks over there. And there's something for the pitch booking or the court booking. And I was like, why is it so fragmented? And here we can take a step back and start figuring out how we can compare different industries. Like if you want to buy something, you just go to Amazon. If you want to book a hotel, you go to hotel.com, to booking.com. These platforms are quite profound in what they do. However, if you were to look, or even if you want to buy food as a delivery, like you go to platforms and it kind of jumps on top to your top of your head. It's like immediately and you buy it. But when it comes to finding a group, going on a hike, going on a scuba diving trip, want to do football or yoga, etc., we get lost. There are some applications out there where you can join a yoga class, but the social aspect, it's like you figure out what you can do. And this is the real problem out there. Is like how to bring people together, how to motivate them. And of course, we developed a platform, which I'll be sharing more about. But this is more of the, the thinking process and the journey from why Dudi, and what we wanted to do. What I missed to tell you here, and which is also quite important, when I was doing this research, I was advising the housing program in Saudi Arabia. It's part of Vision 2030. And the housing program, just to put perspective for people to imagine what has been achieved there over 3 years in the first phase between 2018 and 2020, they signed 350,000 contracts for new homes, for land grants, and this is huge. So me being part of the team, being exposed to all of these new physical communities, realizing that our communities need to be more active, realizing that we need the platform to connect people and bringing together, I was like, hold on, Hasan. What I'm working on as a profession should be utilized to bring people more together. And I was like, I have to pursue this. Realizing that it's like, you know what they say, it's a problem much bigger than us, and that's what's has been driving us for almost 2 years, from research to prototype development to soft launching to launching and then building traction to where we are today. So this is the story in a nutshell. Happy to kind of elaborate further on where we stand and how, our platform could help people in their sports and wellness missions.
That's a great story. And yeah, where you talk about the problem is, bigger than us. And I always say that because, a lot of the things that those of us that have left the consulting world and started businesses in is to solve a problem. And the problem is much bigger than us, but we have to start somewhere. It's not, you can't look away. It can't be unseen. And if you can take all of those skills and everything you've done and contribute to the solution, it's quite a satisfying thing. But it's not about like us feeling satisfied. It's about really solving this problem for a lot of people. Because I think everything that you've touched on is absolutely true. People are very intimidated by starting something new or seeking out a new sport, or, what do we do? We're like that kind of like kid going into the sport team for the first time, and you feel really scared and really worried about it. Actually, I was just invited to try paddle last night for the first time, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then, I really enjoyed it. But again, like going in like first time, I don't know the rules. What do I do? I mean, everyone there was like so lovely and helpful, but initially we're not wired to always expect that that's going to happen. All of those insecurities come back. And then if we're feeling out of shape, or if you've never played the game before and you have no idea, but you really want to do it, it can be super, super intimidating. So taking all of those fears and anxieties out of it is really tricky. So I have many like areas to touch on here. So how does the Dudi app then support that? How does it support
exactly
or encourage people to not be so fearful or so worried or so scared to join something?
Yeah, so of course, when we wanted to build Dudi, we didn't focus on the booking side of it. There are many sports booking applications, and they're all, with all due respect, and some of them are extremely successful. We're not here to criticize, but the sport as an industry, we believe that it works different from, hey, I'm hungry, I want to order some food. The sport is more about the community aspect. It's more of the social aspect. I like that you just touch upon you trying the paddle tennis. I haven't tried it myself, but
you have to. It's so fun. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna book it in the Dudi app, and we're gonna meet up. But we want 2 more people, because what I learned last night is the court is quite wide. Yeah. And at one point it was me against my husband and one of our friends, and I got a good workout. But okay,
we can find someone on the app to join us, or like sure. At least. So definitely. Well, so What I like about paddle, from just an observer as we speak, it's very social. You don't need to be like, compared to tennis. Tennis needs a special technique. You need to train on the technique. Paddle is like, you can just, hit the ball and enjoy and have fun, and then with time you can pick up the technique. And this is what people like to do. Like, I mean, I don't know if it sounds funny, but when you go to the gym, okay, I'm not a big fan of a gym myself, for many reasons. Like, some people are really want to look good, really want to have the six packs. They have the passion to keep, carrying weights, etc. Personally, I'm more driven by the social. Statistically speaking and scientifically speaking, first of all, the penetration rate for the gym is only 3.7% globally, on a global scale. So there are many people who believe in what I'm saying. And also, scientifically and psychologically speaking, we all prefer social games or sports rather than, just going, facing the mirror and pumping our muscles. It's more fun. When we look at cities globally where they're known for good lifestyle or healthy lifestyle, you wouldn't expect them to go to the gym every day or to even do sports every day. But their lifestyle is driven around cycling to work, walking to work. And this is the mixtures that we're looking for. It's how to bring people together without them putting a lot of effort. And this is the formula that we wanted to kind of find. And we believe we found it. So we've built a social network app dedicated to the sports, wellness, and adventure activities, where it has a booking feature or booking engine as a marketplace. But the predominant thing about Dudi is that it's social. It's a social network. The name comes from my dude or my dudette. So it's reflects, in Arabic we say Habibi, Yalla Habibi. So we're trying to mimic the same thing. It's like Dudi and Habibi mixed together, just to say that you're looking for a sports buddy. So that's where Dudi can help you. If you used to play football, for example, and now you change cities and you move to Dubai and you're looking for people to play football with you, this is where you connect. You edit your profile, you tell the app and people that you like to play football, and then people will find you. That you start connecting with people. So this is the first thing that we focus on. We always get the feedback that, oh, Hasan, the opportunities are endless, but it will be quite difficult for you to kind of build that traction across all different sports and activities. And fact is, it's much easier, because once we told the audience that we're quite diverse, we don't focus on a certain vertical, people were quite interested to see, is this really happening? So there's the curiosity. That's one thing. Second, when we're focusing on the social aspect, I hear quite often, Hasan, finally, we can connect with people to do some sports wellness and not just go to a bar and just chug some beers, And this is something that we miss in our lives. We don't have it. I mean, it doesn't happen quite often that we're meeting people over a fun sports activity. And it's a new dimension. And this is where if we were to really be successful on Dudi, it's not the valuation, it's not the bookings, how many people are booked, but it's really people joining the platform to start connecting together. And then, as we mentioned, it's a social network. Like, how many hours do we spend on average on a global scale just flipping Instagram or TikTok or Facebook just to see what's happening around us?
Too many hours on a lot of those platforms that it's not productive, I would say.
Exactly. Now, just imagine having millions of people on this platform, browsing all people around you doing sports. I can't think of something more motivational than seeing the whole city around you just on fire someone playing football, someone playing paddle, and it's all for fun, not only competing, but it's for fun, becoming more social. What do you say? It's like facilitating access to a lot of different activities. And I want to touch upon something like you just mentioned. You joined paddle because we hear quite often about paddle. There are also people who like to try different sports just out of curiosity. Like personally, okay, I've always wanted to try cricket for a while because just flipping the ball is not the easiest thing, by the way. But I was like, how can I go and try? I have some friends who play it, or I know people who play it, but I don't know where do they play, etc. And this is something that we cannot figure out. So we added, of course, one of the features which is a social sports map where you can find activities around you in the city, etc. Of course, I don't want to get into the technicalities of the application, but yes, the focus here is to build a social sport network platform that kind of brings anyone. And simply enough, if we missed a sports out there today, we identified over 130 sports, and we didn't build the platform vertically, we built it horizontally. Like there are certain features that, let's say in golf, okay, in golf applications are very specific that to add, it's like to book a certain, the different fields. Exactly. So it's quite difficult. It has its own specifics, but at the same time, you can still meet and say that, hey, we're going to play there without the technicalities within that sport. And hopefully, I mean, so far we launched in June. In 3 months' time, we have over 2,500 users on the platform, very high engagement rate. So despite being an early stage startup, I think the community has responded has responded enough for us to say that, yes, we're up for something. We're aiming for 50,000 users in the first year. Of course, quite ambitious for any new application out there. But as I mentioned, as a social network platform, we expect to hit what they call the network effect between 3 to 5K users, and we're almost there. So once we grow over 3K, we would expect to spend less on marketing because there will be the word of mouth which we start playing. So we're up to a social sports mission, and hope will be positively adding value to our communities.
Amazing. So do you have then within the app, like let's say I'm just starting a sport or wanting to try something the first time, like you want to try cricket, are people able to find somewhere they can go as a beginner? Are there different levels within, or do they just work that out socially when they're chatting?
Yeah. There are two things here, driven by the technicalities within that. First of all, you can rate yourself to tell the audience how good you are at a certain sport, okay? Of course, this will be further enhanced to get rating from your peers or your friends in a way, just to give more realistic approach, but we're delaying this kind of sophisticated rating thing. But yes, you can tell the audience how good you are, and then of course, the more sophisticated in a certain sports field, they would be able to, pick people who are more relevant. So this is one thing. Second, there's a key factor to bring people to the app, which is the social engagement activities that we're planning. Okay, just telling people we are a cool app and we're up for a great impact to our communities is nice to hear, but without us also bringing certain sports programs where, let's say, there might be like a tournament for paddle tennis, just because we picked up on paddle. There's a tournament for experts or advanced players, but there's also pickup games for paddle. Join us on Thursday. You can meet more people and play together. So this is the element that applications usually don't have, because the other sports book the court and come with your friends. Oh, we can match you with others. It goes beyond that. Dudi goes beyond that. It's where we schedule for people sports programs around different activities. We just finalized an annual calendar of activities. And this is where, we can talk about it as well. And as part of this annual calendar of activities, we identified top 10 sports in the UAE. So there will be something that at least 80 to 90% of people around UAE across the 200 nationalities around us that can find and join. Purpose is to be social. And of course, there will be tournaments for more advanced level. Realizing this, we are partnering with, operators to help on that, because, our priority is to strengthen the technology to make it easier for people to find such activities and to find each other.
So, and then one thing that actually, when I was listening, I'm total, like when I'm sitting in my car or sometimes walking outside with the dog, I'll listen to a lot of podcasts. And I forget which one it was the other day, but they were talking about, sports and health and wellness, are things I listen to a lot. And they made a really valid point and I see that also even now, to your point about real estate projects. And as I mentioned before we started, we're, going to have to move, and we're looking to figure out where and what neighborhood. And when people are trying to, pitch their neighborhood or their house or whatever it is, they're like, oh, and it's going to have like a gym and a wellness center and a this and a that. And it's almost becoming, and they even mentioned there was this one upcoming neighborhood somewhere that it's like going to be one of the best 5-star hotels in the world, health and wellness lifestyle. And I for, out of curiosity, of course, I said, tell me, how much does that cost? Because the brand, the name, and I think they said like houses were starting at like around 20 million dirham. It was out there. Okay. It was definitely a very large figure. It might even be more than what I'm saying. I don't remember. And then this podcast, like, cause I'm like, why, okay, some people want to be in this like elite neighborhood, but when we start talking about health and wellness, especially now in the last few years, and I don't know how that happened. I think maybe because eating healthy is more expensive than eating unhealthy. Eating organic, it's more expensive because it costs more for people to have organic things. Certification of coaches and gyms and opening all these places costs money. So somewhere along the way, it became this kind of perception that being healthy and doing these things, you must have money, or it speaks to like a certain class of people or a certain income level, I should say, when it really shouldn't. Like as a community of sports, it should be for everyone. So what do you say to that challenge that we see in the health and wellness industry?
Yeah. There are a couple of points that you triggered here, Pamela, and thank you for that. First of all, if you go to Global Wellness Institute, they have very good research out there. One of the segments under wellness, we say wellness, it's the wellness, it's the hiking, it's the adventure and sports. It's called real estate wellness. And it is the most rising segment under wellness. Real estate wellness is the integration of sports facilities within our real estate. Okay, now, is it expensive? I don't think it is expensive. It's more expensive to, put marble grading out there and marble finishing and the way we live normally. I had a very interesting discussion with a CEO of a very reputable real estate development company in Saudi. And the key topic was there that, I mean, it could sound like a quote that we came up with, but it was like, the new luxury is sustainability. Luxury is not about the marble finish and all of these glittering lights. So to add wellness facilities within our communities, good cycling and sidewalks for people to walk is not expensive. It would be more expensive. It's actually more expensive to ignore because we're paying it somewhere else in the healthcare bill. So this is one side of the real estate. Now, some people expect to, okay, but we need to add a gym or whatever. It's not about just adding a gym. It's building the communities in an integrated approach whereby you can walk, you can easily reach your office, different communities having cycling access to each other. Like when we look at Copenhagen as a city, 60% cycle to work. Sydney, Amsterdam. I mean, there is a map that I saw just a few weeks ago showing the cycling density within Amsterdam and those cities. It's beyond reach. It's beyond imagination. It's like you can cycle from anywhere to another. You don't need to go. This is why people, I mean, it's not about, oh, because of the weather. Trust me, people can adapt. Maybe the weather.
They cycle in the freezing rain.
Exactly.
Which is the other extreme of what we have here.
Exactly. And people adapt. Of course, the heat in the summer over 2 or 3 months is, I mean, not anyone can cope with, but that doesn't mean the other 9 months people cannot cycle. So this is one segment out there, which is real estate wellness. Then we need to start thinking of, I mean, if we were to address real estate as different sectors, of course, within our residential communities, it costs nothing having, I mean, it costs nothing from the perspective of building a residential community to have a basketball court, a football court, a cricket a court. It costs nothing. I mean, you can build it within the gardens that you have, just provide those facilities. And from our perspective, digitizing those take us 10 minutes, where people can easily, like we can digitize the asset, where people can book it just to keep it organized. Why I'm saying keeping it organized, because around our cities, some neighborhoods have a certain park. Just to play for 15 or 30 minutes, you have to wait in line like 2 hours. So you need the digitization out there, okay? First of all, to organize what's happening, to better organize the activities around it. This is one. Second, to put it on the map. So putting those facilities on the map helps people access those facilities. Helps them realize that, oh, I can, if this pitch is closed, but there's another pitch 5 minutes away, we can also reach it. So this is again from the big perspective that we want to identify. What's missing in our new modern world, and this could sound like really huge thing. We don't have the data on a global scale of who plays football on Monday but goes hiking on Saturday. Such data is missing. Like, we know where people go, we know where people walk, we know whatever. There are the different solutions of the wearables that tells you how many steps you're making, and that's it. But understanding our behavior as communities of who does what on different days, and building on that from governmental perspective, from high-level perspective, to be able to better serve or better build the communities for the new generations. This is something that we don't have, unless I'm mistaken, but I can, based on the feedback that we got from our accelerator program mentors and many people, yes, we have applications for cycling, like called Strava. They're amazing. They have 100 million people of cyclists, triathletes, people who like swimming. I mean, this is their focus. And they do partner with municipalities on the data analytics of where people cycle, etc., because municipalities need to know where people are cycling, to know if there's a better way to plan those roads, to add more health and safety standards. So there's many things that we need to cater to over there. But of course, if you use Strava, you wouldn't be able to use it for football. Or if you would like to go yoga, so you need to download another application. And where's that aggregator? It doesn't exist. We believe with Dudi, we are able to play that role, because this is where we built it without any speciality. It's sport for us is X. Like if you want to do yoga with Pamela, we can add it in 2 seconds. So we built the infrastructure and the architecture of our platform in a very flexible way, so that we're able to capture more data without digging too much into those sports. So yes, and as you hinted, our communities are ready. The post-COVID area brings a lot of opportunities in wellness. Like people are more aware about their health and their well-being nowadays, and they are pursuing activities more than ever in this industry. If we look at the projections, sport tech, for example, is expected to grow by over 17.9%. This is just one figure. The overall, if we look at the healthcare industry, valued at $8.4 trillion globally, representing 10% of the global GDP, while wellness is at 4.4 or 4.3. So it's like half of it. If we look at the growth rates, healthcare is growing between 6 to 8% over the past 10 years, based on different reports. Sports tech is growing in double digits. So yes, people are keen to kind of grow that pillar, and sports and wellness not only need to impact our lives more effectively, but it will contribute to our economies in a more positive way, especially in the GCC.
So, in summary, then back to the question about making it accessible for everyone. So it sounds like your app does do that and bring it together, but there's also a responsibility within the communities to build the facilities and make it easier and cheaper for people to access as well.
Exactly. Actually, I wouldn't find a reason why real estate developers would not provide more sports facilities for free. I believe that from a money perspective, money is not in the booking the court, it's what goes around the court. Like you can do a lot of retail around courts, you can, there's advertisement to be done, sponsor, huge word. When we speak sponsorship in Europe, in the US, NBA, for example, or Premier League in the UK, and then think of sponsorship of sports in this part of the world. It's a drop in an ocean. So yeah, there's much more money to be made around the sports facilities, and then start thinking of the more you facilitate access to sport activities, there's also the talent development for the youth and for the kids. And that also has its own kind of economic impact as they grow. Like, why is the Premier League, or like 2 months ago, AC Milan was sold for like $1.5 billion. That's one club in Italy. It's not Real Madrid, for example, or Barcelona or Manchester United, who has the fame that being the most expensive clubs in the world, football clubs in the world. And this part of the world, we need to get there. And we don't get there by just like, injecting more money. It kind of takes the whole community moving in a way to do more activities and facilitating this. And I think we are at the right time for this.
Yeah, kids in sport is so important, and not just to grow local talent so that they become football stars, but for those that aren't going to become football stars, to teach them healthy habits, to teach them leadership, to, give them self-confidence. There's so many other things other than just building the superstar. Actually, Malcolm Gladwell has a very interesting discussion about this very topic, about the way sports has changed for kind of high school students and this level player. Not everybody is like the all-star player, but everybody kind of needs sports. But somewhere along the way, we lost focus of what you're talking about, where it's part of the community and part of, our general life, and then also the social aspect of it. And not just getting out there and being social, but also there's research that shows that we're healthier when we're social, when we're around people, not social through the social media apps that we mentioned, but like physically social. So not only does the physical help, but the social part as well.
Yeah.
So in addition to sports, though, also within the app, you have some coaches, you have some other things as well that complement the sports. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, of course, what we see on the app in terms of the diversity of sport, is great as a start. But I would say this is just us scratching the surface. Today we have around 55 to 60 vendors. I wouldn't say 2 or 3 of those would be in the same vertical. In total, we did identify over 130 or 140 sports. So you can imagine that every sport there'll be a lot of vendors serving that in the future. So what you can find today on Dudi is you can find yoga instructors, you can find meditation activities, energy healers. This is on a wellness, life coaches as well that would help you in your wellness missions. Then you can find football activities, basketball activities, and paddle. Those activities we're kind of getting engaged in a way to organize on an annual calendar perspective. You can find hiking, adventure travel as well. Like just in October, one of the groups are traveling to Kilimanjaro. Others are going to the base camp and Mount Everest. So yeah, there is of course, if you wanna go, let's say, paddle boarding around the Palm, you can find some activities. Or if you wanna go scuba diving in Fujairah, you can also find activities. So yeah, there is a lot of diversity. We are definitely at the stage where, trying to onboard a lot of those vendors. And there's something, I would say, I don't want to say it's funny, but it's something that we didn't notice before. People, some of the vendors were familiar with we know the websites that offer huge discounts, and that was like their ultimate objective, and that's for the lack of a proper platform for them. When you go, let's say, to a big retailer, even if they have their own website, e-commerce platform, they still, let's say, list with Amazon or Noon because it's another sales channel. In the sports, wellness, and adventure industry, there is no marketplace that brings everything together. So this is, to your question, yes, there's a huge diversity that of what we have right now, but we believe that this is not even 5 or 10% of the potential that we want to get to. Our targets, we hit our target for the first 3 months of launch, which was to grow over 50, but we want to grow over 200 vendors, between 200 to 250 just in the first year. And we're talking about the UAE only. We already got some interest from the States, from Europe, and predominantly from Saudi. Like we have great interest from Saudi. Just imagine within a year or 2 years' time, you would travel, use Dudi to see what activities you have around the city. And here you get to, we were talking about sports, wellness, and adventure. Here you're kind of talking about a clash or an intersecting point, if clash is not the right word, between the wellness industry and tourism at the same time. And that's something also, I mean, where do we see that? Yes, we all travel to watch an NBA match. That's where sports and tourism has, but it's driven by the big events usually. We're bringing it to a city level, whereby, let's say someone is going to study somewhere else. It might sound like I'm dreaming to many right now, but this is fact. The app is there. We just need to grow right now. We need to scale. Like someone would go to study in a different city in Europe, for example. Having such a platform would help them engage within a healthy environment to be more active. That's to address your point as the impact for the youth. Okay. Again, if many people visit Dubai, okay, or move to Dubai, and we've seen a huge increase in the population lately for the expo and in 2022, many people socialize around a club or a restaurant or something else, but we see huge interest of people socializing around sport, just to what you mentioned yourself. And again, we go back to the first point. Does a sports app help? Sport book? No. That's why it's a social network that brings people. And this is our promise, to connect you with people, with sports enthusiasts of the same interest, and bring you unprecedented social sports experience, because we believe that's what's has been missing.
I love that. And I see so much potential once you take it outside the UAE. I mean, it's great that it's here, but what an even unique way to travel. If you, let's say you like a sport, and what a very unique cultural experience just to play basketball or paddle with some people when you're on holiday, or you got a business trip for a few weeks. And, it's, as we know from the consulting world, it's not a lot of fun to be just sitting in your hotel room, and then you most likely won't go to the hotel gym, because that's not very inspiring. So What an amazing concept to be able to do that. It's kind of instantly, it's not even related, not the same industry, but Airbnb came to mind, because Airbnb just started with some guys that needed a room for a conference or a place to stay. And then it started very locally. And then now look at where Airbnb is today. So why could we not do the same thing for sports?
Speaking of Airbnb, they just added an adventure booking function to their website.
Oh, no way. I didn't see that. When did they do that? Because I just used Airbnb over the summer.
Yeah, just lately, because, there's quite a big synergy of people traveling somewhere, yet booking somewhere else. Just by the way, just because you mentioned this, okay? Something that I hope people start to think of on not a big scale, it's on a huge scale, okay? So if we look at Strava or we look at ClassPass, these are the most successful stories in the sport tech industry, both valued between $1 to $1.5 to $2 billion. When you look at social networks, Facebook, they're valued at 150 billion plus. Okay, so there's there's so much to bring from a social network and sports together. Problem that the social network applications are not catering too well. How many people, how many vendors push notifications and advertisement on Instagram that tells them, contact us or message us? Because the business model of those platforms comes from advertisement predominantly. They added the marketplace, but we all have comments on that marketplace. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now,
and also the algorithm, what's seen, what's not seen.
Exactly.
Very, very.
Exactly. So what we did, and to help vendors with Dudi, you don't post and just contact. You post, You put your packages and you put your activities in just the same page, in just the same platform. So when people like what you do, they can just click the second page and make the booking straight away. And this captures huge commercial value that the big players in the social media are kind of figuring out. And this is a statement that we wanna make. The statement is not only that we want to impact people through sports and wellness, but even in the social media platform, the industry is not old enough. It's just 20 years ago. That's when it started, 2025 maximum. And compared to other industries, I believe social media is at its infancy stage. With whatever we see, there's more to be seen. There's more technologies to be integrated, such as the NFTs, such as the metaverse. We do have that in mind. We have some ideas to figure out as we grow our pool of, users and get more funding into the application. However, most importantly, the statement out there, we did address the gap between social media and the commercial bookings. And at the same time, this is a social network app embedded with huge CSR, huge corporate social responsibility, because it's all about sports. It's all about getting active. We have full respect and appreciation for people who like to show off their fashion in a way or different lifestyle activities. But I think that's not what Dudi is about. We want to definitely grow as big as other social network platforms. And we like to say that, LinkedIn is the social network platform for the professional world. It's the social marketplace for the professional world. Sports world has nothing. And we want to fill that gap on a global scale. And hopefully, of course, with your support, Pamela, tapping into the healthcare industry as well and guiding us through what people need, we can achieve a lot together.
Yeah, I think that you can definitely do it. There's definitely a need for it. I think it's just, people are so, like you said, used to some of these other just like booking apps or different things like this. We're creatures of habit. If we already have that and just, understanding new models of doing things, but once they do it, I think it will, and find out how easy it is and meet other people, I think, it will continue to grow. So I think you're doing an amazing thing that definitely, hopefully will change the world.
Yes. For the better.
For the better, of course. Of course,
Yeah.
for the better.
Yeah.
All right. So we will put the links for the app and your social media as well in the show notes, so that way people can find you and sign up, like go join. Don't wait and give it a try, and go find a new sport or go find a sport you're already doing and get out there and join Dudi and be social in your sports.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Pamela, a lot for this opportunity. Of course, the app is free for everyone to join. What we care about is to get your feedback and your audience feedback. That's the only and the best way to help us improve. We are at a very early stage as well, so this is the best time for us to get feedback, work on it before we start scaling. Our schedule is, or our plan for the next 3 to 6 months is to further optimize the platform and add certain localization features. We believe Q1 or Q2 in 2023 will be somewhere other than the UAE. Of course, this is something that will be revealed on social media platforms, especially on LinkedIn. And Diapoint would be the first to know about it.
Oh, thank you. No, we'll let people know. I mean, and what a great time to join then the app, because then you can give Hasan your feedback, and you can be part of that experience, which would be pretty amazing. And if you're struggling, I can't not say it with some health challenges, or you want to get healthier. What a great place to start.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Great. Connect.